Friday, it's time to continue things now over in Europe. It's week 9 and still teams are expecting or attempting to qualify for DreamHack. Panthera have made it.
Yes,
however,
first seed as well.
Guaranteed first seed now. However, they're up against Hungry for More today, who are in contention to go as well.
No one can clinch right now. However, Paradigm and Hungry for More can make a statement for themselves. If Paradigm 2-0 Dignitas later today, they're out of the running, which means it'll be up between Hungry for More and Cringe Crew as we close out. But the first match is HFM against Paradigm.
Now, a lot of people at home seem to think Hungry for More are on an upswing, let's be honest. They've had a good run of games. They're going in against the world champions and #1
Not
seed
easy.
going to DreamHack again. Well, I say again, but they've never gone in as #1 seed because, you know, Super Regionals and Paradigm happened. However, Hungry for More, you know, they're looking good right now. Do you reckon they can take a game here?
I think it's possible. I give the edge here. I'm predicting a 2-0 Panthera, but I think Hungry for More, if they're going to win, it's going to come out in game 1. I think if they get stomped in this first instance here, it's probably going to carry that momentum for Panthera forward into game 2. I'll be interested to see if Panthera are trying anything new, because what we saw when they lost to Paradigm, which I think this was not only their new strategy, but we saw iRaffer try something new in the jungle, a new support start where he rotates over after doing his buffs to mid camps. It was unsuccessful, and because of that, there was a surprise first blood onto Trix Tank. We could see Panthera continue to experiment here up against HFM.
Well, let's find out then. Hungry for More, they need wins here. If they find them, they could be going to DreamHack. Can they take them off the world champions, Panthera?
Looking for first blood is Hungry for More, and it's enough to take out Carino. PrettyPriMe with the 1-2 punch.
Now he's dead.
Teleport.
He's 100% dead. Unless he can, like, one-shot Shaggy.
Fantastic play by Variety, forcing the issue.
So Hungry for More are 14-10 right now. After this set, they do have one more against Leftovers. So if they can find a win here, they're looking pretty comfortable at 15 wins.
If they can find a win here, I'm almost guaranteeing that they'll make DreamHack at this point, and it's going to be nearly impossible for Cringe Crew to kind of follow up. But it is still mathematically possible.
Cringe Crew have a lot of games left this season that they can still find it. Yeah, so that's a potential 8 wins, first of all.
Panthera going to waste no time banning away CaptainTwig's Nemesis. We've seen this god allow Hungry for More to take some surprising wins so far. Still on a 9-game win streak. HFM are trying to ride that momentum here.
And one thing Panthera do very, very well sometimes, if they respect a team, they will focus the bans completely on the targets they're threatened by. Banning Tyr away from Variety, banning Nemesis away from CaptainTwig. Wise ideas. Panthera are not pulling punches in this game so far.
They're not trying to, you know, figure out, you know, which gods are really strong. They're like, we will play any god in the meta. We have our counters. Let's just target these players who have these basically identifying gods right now. Variety on Tyr. His Tyr is his best god by far, in my opinion, right? He has solid other soul laners, but when he gets his hands on Tyr, especially when he has a lead, he can just snowball Hungry for More to the victory, because he's not afraid to take risks. He's not afraid to fight 1v4 if it allows the rest of HFM to find objectives across the map.
Well, a lot of picks available. Jungle may be an option for adapting for Panthera here. Thor's up. Ao Kuang's available too.
Guan
but it's going to be a Guan Yu looking, which is honestly a flex pick.
You know, we've started to see this picked up pretty frequently on Enemy as well, very early on, where it's just this all-around flex pick, like you said, but just the healing is so potent, and it's such a lane dominator if you put it in the hands of iRaffer. He also likes to go that meditation start we see so often, and he's not afraid to just use the meditation in lane just to keep everyone fresh, right? He doesn't need it, and it's a, oh, I have a last-ditch effort trying to keep everyone at max health.
Well, this feels like shots towards Variety again from Hungry for More. Panthera obviously banned away Tyr, take away his Guan Yu as well, which he's picked up a lot of times. The sustain from Guan Yu very strong. What will we end up seeing Variety go to? One of his fallbacks is Osiris, but Hungry for More not going to be looking towards the solo lane just yet for now, although we have seen Variety play the Sobek before.
And Zeus is going to be here for PrettyPriMe as well. So like you said, a little bit of flex in the Sobek, but they could be looking to pair it with an Awelish. We haven't seen CaptainTwig on Awelish too much, but at the very least, that's keeping out the Awelish-Sobek combo from Panthera. They're going to go with their bread and butter. It's Thor.
Isis maybe?
It's adapting. Can't go wrong there.
Maybe we'll see Isis come out as well from Yammyn. No, it will be the Janus this time.
I love this.
From so global rotations on the board with the 3 space and time and the
You know, last season we saw a new type of Janus played by Yammyn, and since then he's, you know, exponentially grown as a player. But it's very, he plays it very defensive, where he's actually, his portal is never used aggressively outside of a couple instances set up. It's all about getting his team out of fights, and even sometimes in, where it's like, okay, let me portal, you know, adapting in. Even though he has his hammer, he can use his hammer for other options.
Well, Hunters are still on the board for both teams here. Neath taken away by Hungry for More. Emilitoo known for his Neath, even though Neath, for the most part, hasn't had the greatest season so far. Less than 50% win ratio, even though she's been involved in a lot of games.
This seems to be a lot of targeted bans. Obviously, we talked about the Nemesis and the Tier, and they're now taking away the Neath as well, and Ares locked away from iRaffer.
Odin banned by Panthera there as well, just to make sure Guan Yu doesn't get in any trouble with that cavalry charge and can't escape. And Jing Wei as well, so
target bans.
A small shot towards Ataraxia with that last one as well.
This is what happens when you have high-level teams. They're ignoring the, you know, quote-unquote top meta picks, and they're banning away the gods that the other team feels comfortable with. But speaking of comfort, Ataraxia gets his Apollo 42.5 KDA right now, the highest on Apollo, and this is over 6 games as well. It's not like it's, oh, he had a couple really good games. It's, I mean, a majority of this split he's played on this Apollo.
Well, we'll find out if Guan Yu is going to be the solo lane, and now his last pick is available. And Hungry for More, well, they banned Ares because they're not sure if it is going to be a support Guan Yu, and it's not. It's going to be the Bacchus this time around once again for iRaffer. That duo lane very, very strong with Bacchus and Anhur combination. Sobek and Apollo up against him. Could be a bit of a bloodbath over there.
We could see just an Apollo, or not Apollo, excuse me, Bologna here. Obviously good at doing everything right? Bologna doesn't excel at one thing specifically, but it said it's going to be the Osiris, so a lane dominator.
The main thing with Variety, I don't think he really likes the Bologna too much. He's not as comfortable on it as he is with, you know, the likes of his Tier, with the likes of his Osiris and the Guan Yu as well. So he generally does default back to Osiris, and you've seen that from Dignitas. When Dignitas played against Hungry for More, they banned the Osiris because they know Variety will go for that.
Well, we'll see if Hungry for More can find a win, or maybe 2, against the world champions as we head into game 1.
Hugo Fred's in a bad spot. That's going to be a 2 for 0 so far as Dimi comes in with a huge ultimate, stunning 2 and killing 1.
Emilitoo was looking for the kill there. Oh,
this guy's not human.
focus onto Lobster instead. He's trying to get the
ball,
but
no!
So let's find out how we're going to begin things off. Early ward down already from Panthera on the left-hand side here. You can see Dimi and Variety going to head over to the right. And matchup, we've mentioned this before, but Guan Yu early game, not a great matchup against the Osiris early on.
Gets a lot of his damage reduced. He can't be interrupted, so he has a little bit better time than he does against, you know, when Hades was in the soul lane. And it's just going to be a farm fest for the most part for Dimi. He's going to make sure, or try and make sure, he doesn't get too poked up by Variety. I do expect this lane, at least early on, to go his way. However, we have seen when Dimi has a losing matchup, adapting does not hesitate to gank, especially on Thor. The ward placement for HFM is going to have to be crucial on that right-hand side of the map.
Well, 3 power potions have been activated this game. Hungry for More with 2 for CaptainTwig and PrettyPriMe. Adapting did take 1 as well in the jungle on that Thor. And obviously we just saw iRaffer go back to base. He didn't go for the meditate start. He's gone for the shell.
This could be just being a little bit worried about the gank potential.
I mean, just for Zeus for team fights?
I mean, 15% damage reduction, 45 all protections. It's very useful. And if he doesn't think that his lane's going to get pressured out too much or poked out too much, this is probably the better pick.
Well, once again, we're going to see differences over in the solo jungle side of things. Teams are still not deciding overall which one's the best one, because we've seen speed into blue, blue into speed, and, well, this time around it's Panthera doing blue into speed. Meanwhile, Hungry for More goes speed into blue.
I want to see if iRaffer tries his start again here. I don't think he will this time. No, he's heading to lane, so not going to do it this time.
It's a little bit more risky, though, with an Anhur against a Sobek as well. If Sobek does end up getting a pluck, you can see a lot of pressure onto Emilitoo.
Look at right side.
Pressure.
So Dimi actually rotates from the soul lane to help split those mid camps, and now he's actually going to miss an entire wave as he rotates back in.
Well, they chose mid camps. He will get back for most of that wave, and to be fair, we mentioned Guan Yu's not got a great matchup against Osiris early on, so why not lose a little bit of experience in the lane to secure your jungle mid, get control in mid lane?
And that appears to be what he's doing. Experience still fine. Left-hand side, Raffer looking for the belch, but Ataraxia quickly dashes away here, and I expect potential fireworks in this matchup. MANALIKE, really aggressive player here, wants to fight, and I think this could be a statement game for him, where he's going against the world champions. Well, he wants to prove, excuse me, that he is a top support.
If you go way back when to the days of the Mortality Boys, when Sio was still around, iRaffer and MANALIKE used to be on the same team. iRaffer was the jungler, and MANALIKE was to support Frezzy back then. So they know each other. They've been around together. So iRaffer maybe has an upper hand in this matchup because MANALIKE maybe hasn't played too much against support iRaffer.
No one getting too aggressive right now. MANALIKE looking for a pluck, but no one's going to be in position there. He backs off. You can see the pings coming out. And a pretty safe start, I'd say, for both teams. No one really trying anything crazy. No invades coming out. If we look at the player damage, it's probably close to 0 across the board. You can see 3 players having not put out a single bit of damage, including the Janus and the Thor.
But for now, this is a good start for Hungry for more than anything. They just want to weather the storm of the early game more than not. Against the Thor and Yammyn on that Janus, if Twig can get himself online, and Twig's very good at counter ganking overall. That's what he really likes to play the style.
That was his Fnatic. That was it. Well, he switched it up, right? When he was on Fnatic, that was his entire style, especially on the Hun Batz. It's like, let's just farm out. The second someone goes aggressive, I'll drop Fear No Evil. Maybe we could find a kill, and if we can't, at the very least, we've reset the fight. Let's just go to late game, get reels online. Now, Hunger for More, he played that same style at the start of the split, but then he started evolving into a more aggressive player. And I saw it first against Paradigm when he played this Hun Batz. Since then, though, I think it's safe to assume that he's going to be a little bit more respectful against Panthera. You don't want to get overly aggressive because Panthera are very good at punishing that.
Variety with a little bit of a small misstep over in that solo lane there. He rotated a little bit too early for those fire imps that respawned, but he did lose a couple of creeps to the tower, allowing Dimi to catch up a little bit on the gold side of things.
And now players level 5 across the board right now, except for the duo lanes. They're going to be hitting that after this wave, and is CaptainTwig going to get aggressive here? That's the question I'm going to have, and it looks like he's just playing it safe. I wonder who's going to pull the first trigger, because I don't think either of these teams really have an advantage when it comes to team fighting.
If anything, I think CaptainTwig should be looking towards the duo lane of iRaffer and emilitoo. Bacchus is definitely a target he could be looking for, especially after the flop. If he can force an initiation out of iRaffer, he's the best one for them to look at picking here, because the rest of the team, very difficult to get.
I love what just happened there. You actually saw Panthera try and force MANALIKE into the jungle there. You could see MANALIKE knew something was going on. Right-hand side, CaptainTwig going aggressive.
Gets a little bit of poke off, got that nice little crit chance coming out, and they were looking towards the blue buff here. At least that's what Variety's trying to do. But mid Harpies have spawned and already in position is PrettyPriMe to secure those ones. Yammyn not going to be able to contest them for now. And that
Dimi,
blue buff still being fought over at the right-hand side.
Dimi's having trouble here, and just Variety's abusing this lane matchup, and he's going to go aggressive.
Good tell of the ultimate coming out from Variety there. Just because of the sound, Dimi knew that was coming and immediately pops his in response so he doesn't get stunned.
This is the tale of a good team. Left-hand side, you can actually see red buff being looked at by Panthera, and I believe they stole that away.
They did steal the red buff, so blue trades out for red on that right-hand side of the map, but now they're going to also pick up their own red buff here. So Yammyn going to have a bit of a power play in mid lane with having that red buff.
And I think CaptainTwig left open. No, didn't leave one open. Blue buff does go the way of Hunger for More. However, they don't pick it up. They just go back and get their own blue buff.
Nothing too exciting so far. I just like the way Hungry for More just stalling out the early game. But Panthera are not known for the very big fireworks before the 10-minute mark. It's around 12 to 16. We've always known them. We've mentioned it multiple times. But the fireworks begin a little bit later on than that. You see MANALIKE there just hugging the wall to get experience and not showing vision of where he is on the map. He's
going to be back here. We'll see if he goes the Traveler's Shoes, and he will. So he's going to have a little bit extra gold, a little bit extra gold gain for himself here. iRaffer could look to go the same. We've seen this picked up much more frequently in the second half of the split, where these teams are valuing not only just the HP 5, but also the passive movement speed, where when you're not in combat, you're just moving faster. This allows, this could allow MANALIKE to rotate across the map, maybe set up plays, or at the very least, if adapting ganks that mid lane, that Sobek's going to be able to be there that much faster.
Well, first couple of backs coming through, ganks coming through. We're going to see Golden Bows completed for the Hunters, as well as the mid lanes have both gone back and picked up those shoes of the Magi, so a little bit of extra penetration online now.
Twig jumps away here. MANALIKE's looking for the pluck, but that is super risky. Just going to clap himself away there. And Hungry for More right now, they've been the ones with all the pressure across the map. A lot of that coming from Variety. Are they going to rush this? This could be an opportunity. But they're going to play it safe.
Yammyn
it's risky because of the double globals.
That's correct. Maybe the ultimate's available for them. The surprising thing so far for me is iRaffer's actually stayed in the duo lane this entire time. He's only just gone back to base now, picked up full reinforced Greaves, so he wants that extra health and protections, but Adapting's looking for a fight in mid.
And Yammyn, he's going to be charging his ult too. It's a wombo combo. They're looking for Zeus, but the damage isn't there, and the counter gank from CaptainTwig doesn't, or excuse me, isn't able to get the Sacred Monkey on the right
Twig's
target.
in a bit of trouble, gonna somersault away. The stun just off the mark from the Belch from iRaffer, so everybody disengages, and it was Panthera the first ones to go aggressive, but Hungry for More responded very well.
It was actually Yammyn who is the one who almost fell there. If that Sacred Monkey did not bounce to adapting, we could have saw First Blood going the way of Hungry for More. Unfortunately, though, Twig a little bit slow on teleporting, or was maybe just trying to decide if he wanted to or not.
Captain plucked towards CaptainTwig, but he will jump to his hammer. He's going to have to relinquish control of those fire imps on this right-hand side again, which go the way of Hungry for More.
I love this from HFM because they're not playing scared right now. You see a lot of teams, especially against the world champions, just not want to get aggressive even when they have the advantage. This is all stemming from variety right now.
He stole adapting speed buff, and now Raffer's jumped in. Dimi on the back though with the cavalry charges, looking for Twig, who's in a lot of trouble. He will somersault away.
MANALIKE's by himself.
Forced to purification away from MANALIKE. Variety here in support. Dimi does not have ultimate anymore, but Variety's overcommitted because emilitoo's rotated. Luckily enough, he had his ultimate.
Oh, emilitoo
still going in.
He's firing the Desert Fury, trying to hit the shots, but it's not going to be enough damage to kill anyone, and Hungry for More are barely going to escape. That was very close, but they walk away with adapting speed buff. Adapting doesn't want to give it up just yet, though. Still going aggressive,
but they're not
going to be able to find anything.
I mean, at the moment, the jungle is not up for Hungry for More on that right-hand side, so nothing Panthera can look to strip away. Meanwhile, Ataraxia is going to pick up the red buff on the left-hand side to stop the team from being able to secure that one. So for now, Hungry for More getting a little bit of an advantage there.
But I love how Hungry for More is playing right now. They're not playing like they're up against, oh, it's the world champions, the best team in the world. They're like, this is just another team that we need to come in and beat. We've done our homework here. And they're not, like, them not being afraid to get aggressive is the biggest thing for me. Because when Dignitas played Panthera a couple weeks ago, that's what I saw. They had advantages, they had an early game team comp, and instead they just let Panthera farm into that late game scenario. Hungry for More are showing right now, whether they win or not, that they can compete at the highest level.
And Hungry for More as well. We said if they can find a win here, kind of the rest of the opportunity of going to DreamHack is going to be on the other team's shoulders to try and push them away from it, because it's almost guaranteed for them. If they find this win here, they've got leftovers left in the end of the season, which on paper should be a 2-0 for them.
Leftovers is always kind of this...
And Cringe Crew, they've got like 8 games left, but that's a big run they've got to go on, and they've got to get through Panthera.
And it's not going to be easy right now. 8.5 minutes in. A little bit of action, but no kills on the board. Hungry for More actually getting the better of the world champions right now. They're 1K ahead. That's come off this Osiris pick, which has controlled Dimi front to back. And this is just a matchup he can't win right now.
Might be a little look at Golf here coming off Hungry for More. They've got wall coverage completely around the area. Yammyn not going to be caught off as MANALIKE is going to clear that ward out around the area once more. Bacchus, though, iRaffer on the left, is keeping an eye on things, just making sure nobody's there too long.
And now, looks like they're going to reset again. It's... Hungry for More have the better secure on the Gold Fury, in my opinion, when it comes to the Zeus ult as well as the Fear No Evil to force people away. But the biggest problem right now is Panthera has the double globals, right? This is what they love to run. They have the Thor, they have the Janus. So if Hungry for More start it or try and sneak it, Panthera is going to have a very strong engage onto them.
Well, Panthera are the ones grouping up right now, and they made take a little look themselves, but Ataraxia is the first one to come around the corner and sniff it out. He can't stop the ward, however, from being deleted and put on the side of Panthera.
Man. Not only does he counter the ward, but he also gets the double tap damage off to Ataraxia. This is why this guy was the best player in the world last year, and he's still in that conversation right now. Dimi versus Variety on the right-hand side.
Though, now he's got himself online a little bit, working towards that breastplate of Valor. He's going to be able to use those convictions a little bit more, but Variety's still beating him down very hard there. But Gold Fury attempt is going up from Panthera, and Hungry for More have not recognized it. It's almost too late. This could go the way already, and I don't think there's going to be any stopping it.
That was just very clean from Panthera. Very surprising. MANALIKE's going aggressive, but there's a lot of mobility on the side of Panthera, and Hungry for More are simply going to have to eat that loss right now. They could look to force a fight in the middle lane because most of Panthera escaped to the left-hand side. Thor's in the air, however.
Yeah, they're looking for Variety, trying to defend the speed buff more often than not. Speed buff has been reset, but now Twig turns up and adapting until he's down. Fear No Evil available too. So we're going to see Panthera get the Gold Fury, but lose adapting speed buff as Hungry for More trying to answer back with this mid tower.
CaptainTwig waiting around the corner there, but it looks like HFM are going to back off. They got the speed buff, and honestly, that just neutralized the early lead they had from that aggression. Very clean from Panthera. Very surprising because we saw both teams quite often going back to that Gold Fury, making sure once their ward got countered, they had vision so no one could rush it. And HFM just dropped the ball on that one.
They did drop the ball, but they're not out of it. The gold is completely even.
It's even.
Check with the experience for a second, and we'll just see if there's any sort of lead. Less than 1,000, and it's in favor of Hungry for More.
It's variety, I think, right? It's variety, and emilitoo has a slight experience advantage. MANALIKE has a slight experience advantage, so nothing really too big on either team right now. Ward coverage, looking at this, is in favor of Panthera, so they do have vision, but not too many aggressive wards right now. HFM are going to have to get some up here soon. You can see a couple members took a trip back to the base. CaptainTwig has a sentry. MANALIKE a sentry as well, looking to get vision.
We are hitting the danger zone though, where Panthera do start to turn up.
In the next 5 minutes.
I'd say it's between like now and 20 minutes is when the turn up will click from Panthera. So Hungry for More just need to be aware of that, because that's where Panthera win most of their games. They break the back of the game.
And a lot of that, they play it off of two things, right? Not only their relics, but their power spikes. If they're out farming, or even if they're getting out farmed, if they notice that they back at a perfect opportunity where, say, Adapting will have his second item, and the other jungler, while he's got, 2,500 in his bank, he hasn't spent that yet, they'll look to go aggressive and abuse just having those superior stats.
In the jungle right now, though, iRaffer making a rotation, going to meet CaptainTwig, as emilitoo was looking over there as well and maybe coming over. So is Ataraxia now, but they're not really fighting over much, as there's no mid-harpies. They're just both trying to catch each other on the rotation if they can find it.
And Adapting backs just for a tier 1 of breastplate. I think he knows that Hungry for More are trying to force something soon, so he wants
Dimi
to just get those extra defense stats.
And Dimi is coming mid now, so they may look to collapse as emilitoo trading with Ataraxia. Dimi has arrived in the mid lane, which is going to release a little bit of that pressure there for a second. Variety was back in base, so no extra pressure on that tier 1 tower, which is already below half.
This is so tense right now
I
between
agree.
both teams. It's one fight is going to blow this wide open, and both teams have been very good in their team fights. I'd still say Panthera are superior. We've seen that proven, time and time again. Hungry for More, they're the team that needs to prove themselves right now.
I like Dimi's build coming out here, working towards that wing blade now, just to be able to deal with Osiris constantly.
There's also a ton of slows on the side of Hungry for More, right? There's also Batz as a slow, the Chain Lightning, Zeus, who's going to hit multiple targets in these fights, so it's a good item to look at.
As well as that, I'm talking about building the jungle here as well. You can see Adapting, gone for the Jotuns, not gone for the Void Shield, which is where Twig's gone. We've seen a lot more junglers go for Void Shield over Jotuns.
Especially EU junglers. They really like the stats on it right now. It reduces protections, which is going to give Ataraxia a little bit more damage as well. And it's just very tanky, right? It's kind of the perfect mix between Jotuns and breastplate.
Well, the pressure in mid lane has allowed Hungry for More to swing around to right. They're looking for speed buff, and at the moment, Twig
This
going
is
to take an
surprising.
opportunity to go into Dimi for a second or two. However, no rotation out of Panthera just yet, but it did force cavalry charge.
That's really clean, and they did that so HFM can look for this speed buff once again. iRaffer getting aggressive though, going to knock up Twig, but his escape's down.
And now they're going to go aggressive onto him as well. Zeus has been popped a little bit off the mark though.
Prime's
Intoxicate's
by
going to put Prime
himself.
in a lot of trouble. They've left Prime alone. Prime still being picked on by 2 as the fight is still going on the back though. Ataraxia makes the rotation. Dimi does clean up Prime eventually after that, as emilitoo now takes out MANALIKE. The mistakes have been made and Panthera are being punishing, Hungry for More.
4v2 left. Yammyn hits a double unstable vortex. Ataraxia and Variety trying to fight away. Variety knows he can't escape, so he's just trying to find a return kill right now, and he's quickly going to realize it's not going to go in his favor, and that was just a massive mistake. We watched it happen, right? They just completely left their Zeus unprotected to try and fight elsewhere. Hungry for More did not fight as a team, whereas Panthera executed perfectly. They're going to find a deicide as well as a tier 1 tower on the right side.
I personally want to say Panthera executed perfectly. The difference was they switched attention all of a sudden. The peel that was there for the Zeus to find the kills just walked away to go and focus another fight.
A lot of this too is because Hungry for More invested so much into this Bacchus. He was definitely out of position, but to burn not only Batz ult but Zeus ult as well on him when he has a Heartward Amulet, so he's got those protections, the chug, the shell as well. And iRaffer just is laughing off all the damage.
And meanwhile, Dimi just walks back in and goes, oh, hey, Prime, you're at half health. I'll just clean you up while the rest of the team are fighting.
That was absolutely disgusting, and we're probably going to need to see a sprint picked up somewhere on HFM when they team fight, because, I mean, Prime is going to continuously get pressured out like this, and unless CaptainTwig or Variety or MANALIKE are kind of hip-to-hip with him, he's continuously going to get abused by Dimi.
And backline peel is not something that Hungry for More really have in the way of here for Zeus. Sobek isn't the best backline peel you could ever ask for. A tail whip, maybe a pluck away, but that's all they've really got.
You know what's funny? Is I think Hungry for More could start developing the same problems that Paradigm have, where they have 3 very aggressive players in MANALIKE, Variety, and then CaptainTwig. Paradigm have been doing a better job of kind of switching up their roles and making sure when they have a god like Zeus to protect him. But that's exactly what we saw right there, right? MANALIKE goes aggressive, so does Variety, so does CaptainTwig, and then PrettyPriMe is just left to his lonesome.
And I think Twig there, I mean, Twig normally is the one that's the most defensive of those 3 that you mentioned there.
But he switched his style.
But he switched aggressive there because he saw an opportunity to go for the Fear No Evil. I think they expected PrettyPriMe to pick up that kill at the end. left him and didn't realize Dimi was going to come back in the rotation as the rest of the fight came out. So 5-1 in favor of Panthera.
Look at this.
Was a big
Look what
gold
Dimi's
swing
doing right now.
before
Dimi wants to get gank. He's baiting himself right now, pushing up to this tier 2, looking at the speed so his team can set up and do Gold Fury.
Well, Gold Fury has already been started here by Panthera, but on zone duty is adapting at the moment. Dimi's making a rotation, as is Yammyn. The Gold Fury's not that low yet, as adapting does get plucked into an awkward spot,
Prime's by
but he's
himself
going to
again.
take up into the sky at the moment. Twig on the back is going to use Fear No Weaver, but Desert Fury from emilitoo is going to stop a lot of that from going through. Variety is turned up, but Prime is alone, and Prime is dead again.
Jimmy is just running him down, and no one is there to stop him. MANALIKE also walled off by adapting, quickly jumping away, but he's getting chased down by Dimi. A couple more autos should finish this here unless Dimi can't close the gap, and it's going to just be a matter of time. Right-hand side, though, the rest of Hunger for More is falling one at a time.
And Dimi this game as well, he's not being the frontline zoner. He's being the executioner against Hunger for More here.
He literally just sits next to Prime and just presses his buttons. And no one on Hunger for More seems to want to protect them.
Well, I mean, what can you do against the cavalry charge? There's nothing that team has against cavalry charge.
Even before the cavalry charge goes off, Twig here getting aggressed. Twig might die. Gold Fury is going to go the way of Panthera. But even before the cavalry charge went off, what happened is Dimi got his full combo on PrettyPriMe, then switched targets once the Lightning Storm came out. And still, he went back onto Twig, or excuse me, back onto Prime after that. Because Prime was sitting at 50 HP or lower.
You can see the gold lead is 4,500. It's going to be a little bit more after this tier 1 tower in mid falls as well. emilitoo just going to farm over the left-hand side and go back to base, complete his chins as well. Not gone for the Iqval this game, gone straight to Assy and chins. Meanwhile, because the Ataraxia has gone for the Iqval. But this is a lead that Panthera generally established in the 10 to 20 minute mark.
So, right now, Panthera, like you said, they've opened it, right? The Panthera turned on, and it wasn't even of their own doing.
No,
it was actually Hunger for More going
agreed.
aggressive on that right-hand side that gave Panthera that lead, and ever since then, it's going to be very hard because Panthera do not relinquish leads, especially ones as massive as about, 5,500 at only 17, 18 minutes. If I'm Prime right now, I'm buying a Vanguard. I'm buying a Vanguard right now.
Panthera, what they seem to do the best is when they get offered a small little chunk, they won't just take a chunk, they'll take an absolute gazillion mouthful of food out of the game based off what they just did. I'm hungry, I don't know why I brought that up. But
it's like that guy. It's like
hey,
that.
do you want a little taste?
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, sure, I'll take the whole thing. And that's what Panthera do.
You want a taste of my brownie? Yeah, and they just take the brownie out of your hands. Like, what are you doing,
Take
man?
the brownie, take the one you're about to cook, take the one you're thinking about cooking, and take the one your mum cooked. That's what Panthera do every time.
Not the one my mom cooked.
Yeah,
man.
even
Those
the
are
one
my
your mum
favorites.
cooked. Even the one your mum cooked.
8-1 right now here, and trouble in HFM. Someone needs to protect Prime, and I think we're going to need to see them switch over to a more defensive style.
We're looking for Ataraxia here. emilitoo going aggressive again. The dunk is good. The purification and sanctuary is good from Ataraxia, but the wall is even better. It will narrow the angle, but he will get out of danger. Cost him 2 relics, however.
Adapting, trying to go for the double tap, and instead spaces himself behind where Ataraxia ends up, so he's going to escape. But it doesn't matter. They at least forced him off the left side tower.
And look where that gang was coming through. What did Panthera do? They covered the red buff option for the rotation from Hungry for More from mid lane with iRaffer, with Yammyn, and now they're going to be the first of the action on the left now. Looking for the tier 1. They're going to be a little bit worried about Twig coming in. Wall off the mark a little bit, as MANALIKE has to disengage a little bit here as emilitoo still looking for the tier 1 tower.
Ataraxia has ult, and you can see CaptainTwig waiting around in the jungle here. Panthera know that it's going to be very hard to fight into HFM under their tower when they have all their team fighting ultimates up. Fear No Evil, Lightning Storm, very useful. Ataraxia as well, going to be able to dive their backline with Across the Skies.
Plug did connect from MANALIKE there, but he's still under pressure. His purification was used by emilitoo, but emilitoo still going to get hit by Fear No Evil. After leaping away, it wasn't a great connection though. And here comes Dimi. The cavalry charge is on. He's in deep with the Zeus ult down though. They're not too worried about it with the conviction and shells available. Dimi's still
Dimi's in trouble.
Dimi will fall.
Oh, the pillar! Oh, emilitoo actually kills Dimi. iRaffer surges forward as well, and it's a variety in the middle of 4. The rest is as the rest of his team is in between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers. However, the fight, it's going to stop, and it looks like HFM are going to concede their tier 1. Ataraxia, the only one still standing as everyone else takes a trip back to the base.
Dimi had the fastest horse alive then. Did you see it? He popped his sprint
sprint
just as he went in. I was like, what's going on with that? But tier 1 tower does fall, so even though Dimi falls there for his first death of the game, he will help to secure the tier 1 tower and continue extending Panthera's gold lead.
I bet you emilitoo did that on purpose.
I was thinking that
He
too.
pillar blocked him. I
It's
could
possible.
see
It's
emilitoo
EU.
pillar blocking Dimi to his death.
It's EU.
They'll probably do it at DreamHack or something, and
They'll never
they'll lose a
admit to it.
game.
And the one thing about this game, like we mentioned about Hungry for More, they made a misstep and got punished for it. Lobster said the same thing, though, realistically. Lobster was like, when you play against Panthera, you have to expect them to land everything.
Every ability. And they do that, too. It's absolutely absurd. It is rare for them to miss, and if you make one mistake, everything goes wrong. Variety here, deep into the jungle.
He should be fine. But however, the one thing he's going to worry about is displacement. His ultimate is available, but he's not going to have to use it there. The tether will slow him down as MANALIKE did a very good job of duck diving and weaving through that little wall that was coming down from adapting.
And actually, this is pretty good for Hungry for More. Not only do they draw every one of Panthera over to the right-hand side to defend that tower, which went down anyways, but Ataraxia is split pushing on the left-hand side. But it looks like it's going to be a one-for-one that Ataraxia is not interested in taking.
Well, he's going to be forced into the ultimate. Oh, that was almost enough damage for the kill there. Emilitoo nearly calculated that to perfection. One more in hand would have been enough to see Ataraxia fall, but he will get out away from the danger one more time. Tell you what, his KDA is not going to be as high after this game.
No, it's already been ruined. Adapting, flipped back here, going to go up into his ultimate in time, and just like Ataraxia, going to be able to escape just barely, though. You can see that detonate getting him to red.
But Gold Fury's about to come up now, 20 seconds up and Hungry for More. They have an opportunity here. Adapting is low at the moment, who just soaked up that experience, doesn't have his ultimate available, and neither does Yammyn right now. Hungry for More trying to set up a zone around this Gold Fury because they
like this
one. They
because
need it.
One of them, you saw this a lot from Cloud9 back when they were reigning in Season 1, is that even when you're behind, you can't play like you're behind, and that's exactly what HFM are doing. They know that it's going to be much harder to fight into Panthera with this deficit. However, if they just concede everything and allow themselves to slowly bleed away, it's a guaranteed loss. Instead, they're not getting aggressive on Panthera anymore. They know they can't force the fights, but they can counter-engage. They've been positioning themselves to do so. And when Panthera do stuff across the map, they're making sure to take every objective they can in the meantime.
The calls seem to be good of when Purification are down or ultimates, so Twig can go in, but Twig's just not managed to find the ultimates and the exact target he's been after. He's been looking at Emilitoo multiple times in this fight, but Emilitoo, he always seems to have the upper hand as there's a flop on to Ataraxia, going to force the Sanctuary. But now Raffer's in trouble and he needs support from his team.
Shell was popped, Raffer just trying to bait for the rest of everyone else here. Adapting does have ults, and he's not taking. He actually has taken to the sky.
Ult for ult, Adapting dunks in off the mark, but the portals get him out again. Fear No Evil is perfect from Twig, but no real follow-up as the peel from Raffer is good. Dimi on the back is trying to keep him busy. The cavalry charge is going to stun 3, but now Dimi's in trouble too.
Oh, he's actually been flung out of the Lightning Storm. Doesn't matter. Still a pick in favor of Hungry for More, and that's the healing for Panthera. And now look at them. They're on full escape right now, and Hungry for More, they get the better of that, and now it's going to be a Gold Fury, Tim.
Well, Gold Fury is going to be started up. No ultimates available for
Yammyn's
Panthera,
here,
but they do have Yammyn with that unstable Vortex teleport coming in from Variety again. Gold Fury is still alive
Reset.
at the moment, and Panthera,
Panthera stole it.
get the Gold Fury, and they lose Raffer for it. Well,
I mean,
I didn't see that one.
That's brutal, but right now, Hungry for More have still forced all of Panthera back. You could see Adapting can't really fight right now, and it's what they're going to be able to get off of this, and it seems like it's going to be a Tier 1 tower here, but that's just so unfortunate for HFM.
Bad situation to be in. They'll get a Tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Let's go to the graphs and see how this looks right now as the Tier 1 tower does fall. Well, the lead is just under 5,000 gold still, 6,500 experience. It's definitely in the favor of Panthera, as Yammyn still is going to fall down here, I think. I don't think he's going to get away. Oh, he is!
Outplayed. And I mean, that was all Adapting as well. You saw that perfect wall because the stun actually went off on a Yammyn from the tether. However, Adapting quickly 180s as he's running away himself, stuns out Variety just as the tether stun comes through, and you know that he timed that. Adapting is that player to know when that tether stun is going to go off and make sure Variety can't finish off the kill.
Well, Crit being worked on by Emilitoo now to continue his build onwards. Meanwhile, the right-hand side for Ataraxia, it looks like we're going to be seeing that Fatalis coming out one more time. He's looking for the extra mobility.
And now 8-4 right now. Panthera, they're looking pretty challenged. 25 minutes in, HFM have not just lain over after losing that first engagement right now. And Fire Giant likely to be the next point of contention here as MANALIKE just getting poked out.
Yeah, just getting poked out for now. Right Harpies are going to go the way of Panthera once again. Fire Giant is available for them, and they are grouped up on this side. They're looking towards Variety here more often than not. Variety may not know this is coming. He will do in a second as 3 members have turned up. He's got his ultimate available, but he immediately disengages, and with that, you'll see Panthera just controlling the right-hand side of the map for now.
Red buff has been picked up here. CaptainTwig could be in a little bit of trouble, gets double poked for half his life, and that's what's so deadly about this Janus Thor combo is that one stun from Adapting leads to that guaranteed unstable Vortex and double tap from the hammer.
At this level of the game too, yeah, I mean, this stage is so important for them. Now they're looking at MANALIKE, who's going to charge away, but looking towards the right-hand side here, trying to pick up a Tier 2 tower. Variety isolated and alone. He's going to do what he can, but he gets impaled into a wall. The flop is good as well from Raffer, and Emilitoo credited for the kill.
Absolutely clean. That's one thing that what happens with Variety is that when he's feeling himself, he gets a little bit too over-aggressive, and he's done a good job so far most of this match where, you know, he's been able to keep most of Panthera distracted, but not against 5 there, and he gets eliminated. And now, I mean, you can see Ataraxia trying to split push, but Panthera, they're knocking down tier 2s.
They're going to go for a tier 2. As you said, Adapting is over on the left-hand side, has his ultimate ready as well. Going to dunk in, looking for Ataraxia, but immediately he'll get away into the sky.
He could fight mid.
However, could be in trouble.
I mean, Variety's still dead, not worth the risk. You can even see Yammyn. He knows that this is a fight that they don't want to risk taking. Let's just portal out right there. They do so, and now they've actually gone back in.
MANALIKE in trouble, going to get stunned out by iRaffer, and the Belch is good to secure the kill. Now they can continue looking for the tier 2 tower as well. Dimi goes to the back, double stun. Not going to use the whole cavalry charge. PrettyPriMe in trouble. Great knockup from emilitoo. Sanctuary's even better, but Sanctuary from emilitoo will keep him alive for a moment, but the Zeus ult will secure with Ataraxia.
A nice return kill for Hunger for More, but they're going to lose another tier 2 tower as Panthera starting to establish their lead pretty significantly now, about 8,000, 10,000 experience as well.
Yammyn back to the left-hand side then. Fire Giant is available. We just saw a ping go down there. I'm pretty sure that was from Hungry for More saying we need that warded up soon because Panthera will be looking towards it when they get an opportunity. Only a tier 2 tower remaining, so the gold lead continuing to extend in Panthera's favor.
You can see player damage right now. Topping the charts is Yammyn and emilitoo. We've seen emilitoo rotate and be much more of an impact so far than Ataraxia, who's been focusing on trying to split push when these fights break out. Fire Giant being looked at now by both teams. You can see Hunger for More don't want to give this up.
And 10 kills at the moment for Panthera, but if you look at Hungry for More's team and who's died the most, it's been relatively even. They've been taking it in turns to kind of, well, not necessarily picked off.
We saw PrettyPriMe 2 times die because he was left unprotected. Since then, we've seen him get in much more defensive positioning because of that.
Well, they pluck iRaffer, but iRaffer flops away. Twig ended up jumping to the monkey. The wall off the mouth from Adapting. Variety round the corner, looking to steal the speed buff away here. Still aggressively, but they won't find it. It goes to Adapting. And Variety will walk away as well, but Hungry for More power play at the Fire Giant for a moment.
You can see Panthera is still scared to fight into them. There's so many team fighting ultimates on the side of HFM. They need to be very careful. What they really need to do is bait out that Lightning Storm and Fear No Evil as soon as they can. You can see CaptainTwig actually very tanky, 0, 1, and 5. He's set up every single kill, but it's not going to be easy to lock him down. Not only does he have the Void Shield, but he's also gone into that Shifters.
But Hungry for More have to be careful about a fight here because PrettyPriMe still has no relics available right now for another 50+ seconds. Until he has those online, they can't really look to try and contest anything Panthera do, otherwise they'll lose their mid lane mage.
And MANALIKE just getting his meditation back up. Sprint will be up in 6 seconds as well, as Panthera have every relic available to them outside of Dimi Sprint right now.
I think if Panthera knew both those relics were
they would probably
for
force
Prime,
the
they'd
engagement.
force this hard.
For sure.
iRaffer gonna zone MANALIKE once again with a stun. Flop just off the mark as MANALIKE gets away again, but having to use that defensively means some of the frontline engage is just not there.
That was very important for MANALIKE to dash away there. I mean, if he doesn't get that off, it becomes incredibly dangerous for him if he gets knocked up. And now Panthera, they're starting to gain control back into the jungle here, but they can't really break HFM. It's all about trying to find someone who's out of position.
They're trying to force a fight now. Fury is available.
I think this is a bait.
Has been zoning time and time again. Well, they've also got 3 space and time, so if they go for Fire Giant here, Hungry for More, you'll see Yammyn rotate.
This is a bait by Panthera. They're definitely going to hard engage with this, and I think Ataraxia knows it's a double bait.
They're trying to bait them to come across with a 3 space and time. Will they do it is the question. Raffer's going to be like, guys, they're not doing it. It's fine.
It's a double. That's some high-level play there, where both teams know exactly
Raffer
what
goes
they're
in
doing.
alone. Raffer's alone for a long time. A 3 space and time on its way. Only hits MANALIKE coming through. Dimi on the back, straight to PrettyPriMe. Raffer's looking for him too. And there's the dunk onto Prime as well, but Prime is escaping. Fear No Evil on the back though will hit emilitoo, forcing the purification. Fire Giant got pulled off that as well. MANALIKE, and everybody's still alive.
CaptainTwig isolated by himself on this left-hand side. No jump available. He uses purification, so he's not going to get stunned, but he's in an auto-attack battle with Bacchus, and it's going to be emilitoo jumping over the corner and finishing him off. Variety in trouble as well, but there comes the Lightning Storm.
Adapting went in a little bit too deep and is alone, but he's got support. The whole team, Desert Fury, channeled through. Lord of the Afterlife and Variety stuns out too, but there's no follow-up from the team.
Panthera's low.
Just not doing enough.
Panthera's low right now, but they're going to have Dimi able to heal, and Hunger for More so close to turning that fight. Very unfortunate for them, but they're not going to give this up for free. Dimi, the healing's starting to come through right now. MANALIKE making his way into the Fire Giant pit.
Have to contest, so this game is almost done. Panthera got the Fire Giant to half health. Prime is in trouble now as the wall isolates him off, even though Raffer missed the flop. And now emilitoo is looking for MANALIKE, finds one crit, but MANALIKE just trying to buy time for respawns. He will fall to Yammyn.
And adapting ults as well, but the Croc has already fallen. Fire Giant going to be picked up here. Ataraxia, level 20, does have his ultimate. He's finishing off the speed buff. If he's going to make a play, it has to be now.
Now, Dimi's done exactly... more healing than anybody on Hungry for More have done damage other than Zeus.
How much healing did he have? 15,000?
Well, 16,500, I should say now.
These Guan Yus are going to have to be banned away soon. Can we go to items again? I want to see if we have a beat stick. I'm really surprised that we don't have a Divine Ruin on PrettyPriMe or a beat stick on CaptainTwig at this point in the game. I mean, both these... I mean, all you have is 2 Pestilences and a single Curse, but I mean, Pestilence, they're not stacking. It's 20%, and Curse isn't even 100%, right? It's 65 now, and it's on a massive cooldown. All that needs to happen is that Panthera bait that out, and with how long these fights are going, that Curse is not going to, you know, stay active or relevant long enough to be impactful at anti-healing.
And if you try and focus a frontline tank in Guan Yu here, the rest of the team is going to annihilate you with the amount of damage they've got on the backside, waiting to come in and help out Dimi if he falls.
Right now, though, Panthera starting to come into their full builds. There's only, I believe, 2 players still looking to finish off items, Yammyn and iRaffer, which means HFM, if they can delay this game for another 5 or 10 minutes, they will be completely even when it comes to Panthera's fighting
really
potential.
far forward here. I'm surprised they're going to the tier 2 town on the left. They're going to try and defend this potentially?
I mean, maybe this gives them another opportunity to defend later. I think maybe that's their idea, but it's still risky, and they're going to give it up.
Give it up, and it's just down to Phoenix's remaining now. Rafa actually split push in mid lane, as a good Bacchus should.
I mean, that's what I want my Bacchus to do. Just split push away. And he's actually drawn 3 players over here, and there's only 2 HFM members on the left-hand side. PrettyPrime's positioning is going to have to be absolutely perfect. I expect him to stay behind this Phoenix at all points. Otherwise, Dimi is just going to look to carry him.
Variety under pressure again, but behind the pillar wheel hide. MANALIKE forced his own with the lurking of the waters. He's still looking for some extra damage on somebody.
HFM need to back off
anybody. Rafa's in trouble, but the wall again from adapting keeps him up. Shell was actually used as well.
Variety cannot
boxing
fight this
with emilitoo.
And now he's by himself. Adapting to go to the sky as well. Lord of the Afterlife is used, but it's just a bait for Adapting to come down, and iRaffer knocks him up to help finish the kill. CaptainTwig isolates one in the back here, but Yammyn and Panthera are surging forward. MANALIKE just body blocked as Dimi gets the last hit.
And Prime's fighting off Bacchus, who's so tanky, and there the damage dealers turn up. Yammyn gets a double kill. Dimi gets a double kill. Twig technically got a double kill too, but it's going to be too little, too late. Panthera are going to end game 1 here, 19-7 in less than 34 minutes. They've done a good job, but for me, it'll go back to the Hungry for More 11-minute play at the speed buff.
When they invaded it,
hurt them.
They left Prime alone, and then again at the Gold Fury, they left Prime alone. That fight right there, I mean, HFM got completely baited. They popped the sprint, MANALIKE goes aggressive, but they needed to realize that they couldn't go fight anymore, because that's exactly what Panthera wanted them to do. They popped their own sprint, they disengaged, they immuned all the damage coming out from MANALIKE, and then they just isolated out Variety. Variety getting a little bit too aggressive by himself, trying to 1v1 a Hunter at full build. Not the smartest move there, and he got punished for it. iRaffer helped locking him down, and then the rest of the team fell 1 by 1.
At the stage of the game, though, what can you really do? You've got to try and make a play somewhere at some point.
I mean, when you're by yourself and Panthera are baiting you, and it's pretty clear. Don't get me wrong, though. That was a phenomenal showing from Hungry for More, especially when they were 5K behind, because most teams honestly just lay over. We see this even at the top end, where teams will just slowly bleed themselves to losses. They were fighting. They knew they had the potential to fight. They made sure if Panthera was doing something on one side of the map, they would take objectives on the other.
I'd rather see a team like when we're against it, the 5Gen's been taken, they're really in a bad situation. I'd rather see a team just go all in and potentially suicide all the way in, just go for
the problem
and trying to make a big play.
I agree, but the thing is, and that's what they did. They popped the sprint and they went trying to do that, but then Panthera popped their own and just disengaged.
Yep.
They should have just been like, okay, it's a wash. We need to, wait 10 more seconds and try again. But still, it was a really good showing from HFM. It's very rare to see teams challenge them as well as they did.
Well,